love them. I love them in their dynamic duo. I love them. I love their love. It's like the what they represent. They're more than like I they're more than, they are the ideal of what love and compassion can achieve. Like, it's not often you step into a character and have like a spiritual impact that way. um they are the people that we want to be. That's why people hanker for them so much and their love. um I just love what they represent. They represent everything pure and good within us, and I love that. I sincerely, genuinely love that aspect of this job. And it's a job, right? But it feels holier than that in a way. um and so that's like that's what I take from it. That's what I always looked forward to when we were taking them, when we were given another amazing opportunity, to come back to another film. And I'm gonna miss it. I am gonna miss it.
It's funny. You started as an actor, and there's this sort of knee-jerk reaction to, oh, the villains are more fun, and you want to play people with a lot of problems, and
Right.
that's going to be the stuff that you're going to chew on. And then, if and it's the honest truth, whether I would say this whether we were on this call or not, because there's only one other character that I played that was equally as like, God, I want to be that guy. And they're both just steadfast moral code, like fight for the good, love triumphs over everything. And that's my Ed, that's our relationship. And so
And
that,
bag me with a spoon kind of stuff, but so
yeah,
to make it really appealing for an audience and to
yeah,
display, because it can be a bit preachy and it can be a bit,
yeah,
dogmatic and that, but how do you make that alluring? How do you
yeah,
make that love? And
yeah.
and
It's funny. I love seeing like the response on social media. We've seen it for years now, but it's like relationship goals, and Lorraine, and I love that. And I love that. And listen, we're great friends, feel like brother and sister, and we're both in great marriages. And it's like, and you, it is great to aspire to that. And sometimes, we go to movies for escape, but sometimes you want a reflection, and we want what is something we aspire to, and that we understand that mantle. We carry that mantle with pride, because you don't get to do that in a lot of movies. So to get to do that in this horror franchise,
right. So odd.
it's so strange. It's so
So
bizarre,
strange.
but it's
But
actually perfect.
yeah,
But
and
it's
it's not just a message of love, it's
yeah,
sacrifice too. That's what they
yeah,
represent. How many times Lorraine's like, I'm out, I'm tapping out. Like,
yeah,
it's too much psychic trauma, it's just too much
yeah,
stress. Like, I'm done.
yeah.
But that sacrifice with, like, always putting others before yourself. It's a really beautiful mission, this franchise. It's just a thrill of it, right? It's a thrill of like creeping up on the edge of danger, right?
So we saw in the first film from the very beginning audiences, it terrified people, but it got outside the genre because people felt for these people. They felt for characters. So demographics that don't typically enjoy um, horror movies responded to this because of the vision that actually that James and they had set out to do on the first film of if we don't care about these people, who cares how scary the movie is? Like, the scare has to become because we see someone we love in peril, right? So they dug into that, and this franchise, I think, above all others, has really leaned into that, and we're the recipients of that because we're the love. So as dark as the movie's got, then we're going to show the other side, because all you got is love and fear anyway in the world, right? So degrees of that. So we capitalize on those. And I think that's why. So that's a massive answer to say, why do people respond? But because there literally is something for I hate to say something for everyone, but you see how wide of a swath that the movie spans, because you can get the people that just love the scares, and you can get people like, oh my God, I want this relationship movie. Like, you get that if you can stomach the scares.
And he's just like a kid in a candy store. It's his innocence with which he tackles everything. He's so geeked. He's just a geek, a horror geek. He loves scaring people. He loves crafting scares. He loves the nuance of facial expressions. And God forbid you do something interesting. He just freaks out with joyfulness and like, and that kind of that's infectious.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very easy to get cynical in this business. And
Yeah.
time and time again. And when you're surrounded by people who are just enjoying what they do and the craftsmanship of filmmaking, and this is a guy who just loves his actors and loves the entire process and the camaraderie of it, and it's a very joyful set, and we're always giggling on set. But I mean, it starts from him. I believe it always starts from him. I mean, he and
Yeah.
I are so largely responsible for the energy of a set, but Chaves brings to it such a playfulness and he's so happy-go-lucky.
Yeah, I second and third all that. I'll also say that I think he's listen, he came into the first film that he did in our franchise, the Devil Made Me Do It, and he was coming off of Curse of La Llorona, and when this movie, but so between that and doing The Nun 2, this movie you can tell has so much of him, right? And I think that's important, and I because you want the filmmaker to be deeply connected to the story they are going to tell, because if they're not, then you see it on screen, or if you can't articulate that, you may feel the distance. And this one, he really took the reins and shepherded it from the get-go, and really, because he'd had the success of the Nun 2, and obviously the other, I mean, we did our other Conjuring movie with him during the pandemic, and that was a whole other thing. But he really, this one, and that was a departure for the series, just in terms of structure. But this one is really this was his way to really honor the first and the second film, and really bookend it and give the emotional resonance that the first two Conjuring movies had. So I think we got him at a place too where he was like, this is the story that I want to tell. So all that geeky energy that Vera's talking about, it's really true, matched with a skill set that he's been able to hone in the past several years. So we're getting him at this a peak of his technical prowess. So he's got both the heart and the energy, but the skill set to map it out. And
The
that doesn't
wisdom and the
always come.
confidence now too.
Yeah,
And
that's
that
what I'm
was
saying.
really
Confidence.
interesting, Chaves,
Yeah.
to meet this go around.
Yeah.
As
No, I agree.
he
I
was
agree.
just he was still getting over the fact that he was chosen to direct the third
That's
one.
right. Yeah,
Whereas
that's right.
now he claimed that
That's what I mean. He took it, and you want that. We as actors want that. Even we as filmmakers, have been on the other side of that. But you want that. You want your director to go, no, this is what I see. This is the bit, and then you're like, okay, let's go.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, I play Tony Spera, and Tony Spera is Judy Warren's boyfriend at the start of the film. He's absolutely besotted with her. And what I love about the character of Tony within this movie is that he's kind of the audience's eyes. Like for any audience member that's not seen a Conjuring movie before, like he really is their point of view. He gets to kind of see the world for the first time because that's his journey throughout the movie. He's being welcomed into the Warren family. So it's kind of cool and kind of a privilege to be providing that perspective.
And I think for me, Judy represents young women coming into womanhood, obviously on a more extreme basis, considering what the film itself is around on a topic level. But when you look at the heart of it, she's coming to terms with what the tools are she has, and how to pass that and confront that. She's got a kind of, the sort of hero archetype of you've got to go through the darkest part of the forest to come out the other side. And I'm just really excited for people to see how it plays out for her.
I came on to the process quite late, so I kind of sensed it was going to happen, but I wasn't sure. So I started doing my character work before meeting Tony. But he gave me so many like gems. Like he's such a character in himself. And I kind of took what I liked for the film and making the film the best version of the film that it could be, and how I saw Tony within that script, and then kind of left the stuff that I didn't want to keep. But he was very very generous, and I really appreciated that. Though I think he wished George Clooney played him, so I think I was always going to disappoint, but I did my best, you know. Yeah.
Love that. And for me, Judy, again, yeah, she was super generous with me, with information about her childhood, what it was like to grow up as a young Warren, and also to have not really wanted to be part of that world. You know, famously, she lived with her grandmother and she didn't want to know anything about the artifacts room. She gave me a mantra which I used for my characterization, which was don't look at it, don't give it recognition, which she used to when she was sort of talking about Annabelle and the artifacts room. And that was something that I brought into it. And of course, with respect to the other actresses before me who played the roles, I particularly, you know, drew interest from Grace's performance, because we see more of her in Annabelle Comes Home. And I really liked the way that she portrayed, you know, the internal world of Judy, sort of this sort of quiet, guarded character, which I brought into this film. But Michael was very adamant that I'd create my own sort of Judy coming into this.
It's daunting. It was daunting. Come on, it's an ordeal. It's like I'm so nervous day one, but fortunately, day one was also the scene where, without giving too much away, where my character Tony has to ask a big question of Ed and Lorraine Warren. So yeah, the nerves that I felt on day one were 100%. I could use them in my performance. But it's a privilege and an honor to be part of such a huge franchise, and one that, you know, if you told me when I was in my early 20s watching the first Conjuring movie at the cinema that I was going to be part of the franchise, I would never would have, you know, believed you. So it's awesome to be sat here now talking about it.
Yeah, and I guess I totally agree with that. I mean, like Ben said, the first day was Ed's birthday, and I think we were both full of nerves, and it was good because, again, Judy could harness that in a way, you know, put that into the fact that I was nervous about Tony meeting my parents and how my dad would react, and nervous about being back in the house around the artifacts room, but coming into a franchise like this, you know, it's massive. I'm newer to the industry, so that comes with those challenges as well. But Vera and Patrick have created such an amazing atmosphere on set. You know, in this film, we focus so much on the Warrens as a family. It's a really nice way to sort of see it all out. And Vera and Patrick create that atmosphere on set as well. We all ended up feeling like a family, and we all felt welcomed by it. And it's really, you know, massive testament to them. And of course, James, Peter, and Michael, they all create that ambience. It's amazing. When we've talked about these this question, it's interesting because me and Ben both kind of talk about Patrick and Vera. Even though we were all a unit, it was really beautiful. You could see the relationship between Ben and Patrick and me and Vera, and you see that play out on screen. I think the main point for me to say is that they were just so kind and encouraging. Never once was there a sense of sort of doubt of, am I doing this right? We were guided by the best of the best, the queen and king of the Conjuring horror world, and potentially horror itself.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, only thing I would add to that is just that, you know, there's another version of how filming could have played out. You know, like I've worked on things before where, and I'm not slagging people off, but when you have sort of developed something and been part of a huge franchise, there's certainly an element of this is my baby and who are the newcomers coming in. But like Patrick and Vera from day one were just like the most welcoming people and just so supportive. And like Mia said, so generous and so giving, and like kind of very much allowing us to sort of come in with our ideas and present what we wanted to present, but also then sort of giving us suggestions or based upon the knowledge that they had from being part of this franchise for 12 years, you know, the knowledge that we couldn't, you know, get from thin air, you know. So they were really, I couldn't speak highly enough of both of them, really.
Michael's amazing because he's so passionate about the genre. I saw his short film before I started filming, and I found that terrifying. He just knows his stuff. He knows how to create scares. The amount of times he was telling me, slow down on the head turns, because that, you know, because he just knows, he knows how to do it, and he knows how to make it. And when I watched the film, I was like, I can see it. I see what he means. And I'm so looking forward to it, because it wasn't, you know, so much as well what we expected, because we don't see it as it's filming, we're just acting. So seeing it come together, it's this visual experience. It's not just about horror, and it's not just about family, because Michael has managed to create this world where you're so immersed in the entertainment of horror, the jump scares, that, you know, the goosebumps that you get. He's just done so well at creating this world.
He really has. And like, I will say actually, yeah, I find it really interesting to watch, because you know, there's parts of the movie which I wasn't involved in, obviously, and it was really interesting to see how he shot them and how he went about it, and like all the kind of early smell stuff is it almost feels like it's a found footage sort of feel, which kind of adds to this sense of it being real and being authentic and being based on a true story. You kind of feel like a fly on the wall, sort of watching what's going on, and it really creeped me out. But it's testament to him, but also just to add, like he's so enthusiastic and such like a big kid on the film set. Like he's just there when he's so excited to shoot every scene, and that's so infectious, and that does trickle down into everyone else, cast and crew on set, and gets everyone else excited at the beginning of the day and throughout filming. Yeah, so
We're making a movie. That was
making a
my
movie,
line.
guys.
I am so excited for fans to see it. It's been a journey that we've all been on for over a decade. We make these movies for fans and with fans in mind. And when we're writing them and into production, and I'm dying to see how people respond. I think the Smurl case was unique in a couple ways with the attack on Jack Smurl, and then it was also one of the last cases that they took in their careers. It was also just a classic haunted house case. The Warrens had a lot of different cases that, as any fan will know, that stretches way beyond just haunted house stories. I think for all of us, I wanted that return to the kind of meat and potatoes haunted house experience that we all fell in love with the first film. If you look at the first Conjuring film, the Warrens play less of a role than I think most people remember. They kind of come in really strong in the last half of the movie, but really it's focused on the Perron family. And with this, it was, we've come to know the Warrens more and more over the series. And I think it was really important that we give them equal weighting, if not more so, and really tell a story with them and let it develop that would be emotionally satisfying and very powerful. Even in the way that they would interact with the other actors and actors who have been in the series before. We would finish a scene and we would know it would be the last scene that they would be playing opposite each other. And I think everyone would know that, and there'd be a moment, and, you'd be saying your goodbyes, not just because you're done with the day's work, but, this is the last time these characters would be, playing opposite each other. And I think there was something really bittersweet about that. And I think that just was a great way of grounding us, every time that happened, that, this was the end, and we really needed to make it special. Mia brings so much to that role. She was such a great find. She's, accomplished actor in England, and I think this is really going to be a breakout role for her. She brings this great charm and vulnerability to the role. Beyond that, she just loves horror movies, and you can actually, that's sort of, such a bonus if you're making a horror movie and you're working with people that actually get the genre and enjoy the genre. She was I think the oldest of her siblings, and she would just terrorize her younger brothers, and so she just enjoys that. She enjoys that experience, and it was, she was such a great ally, and she's totally stood toe to toe with Patrick and Vera, who are, definitely powerhouses. with Tony and Judy, it's like you said, it's the first time that we're seeing Tony in a Conjuring movie, and we're really getting to see the world through his eyes. We're getting to come into that family as an outsider, and I think that that was so important because, especially when you get this deep into a series, it's easy to get too inside baseball and to assume too many things. And with Tony, he was able to just ask the obvious questions. He was able to ask, why do you have a room filled with demonic artifacts and all of these things? And that was such a breath of fresh air. Their interaction together was really great. I think that they're early in the story, they're early in their relationship. And so their love is still at the early stages, and it was kind of a great contrast to Ed and Lorraine, and where they're deep into their marriage, and I think just the contrast and the parallels between the two of them or those two couples was fun to play with. One of the things that people love about these films is they're based on true stories, and we went to the source. We basically recreated the Smurl house as closely as possible. From the outside, it's in nearly exact match. On the inside, we took some liberties, but there's definitely like the wood paneling and a lot of the things that are just really signature in that house we brought into the film. And I think that was, I mean, it's great when you have that to anchor yourself because honestly, sometimes you have too many choices. You can be too creative, and you can, especially in a design standpoint, the options are limitless. But we had all these great photos and video of the Smurl house, and that kept us honest. And I think that actually was very helpful for everybody. It was helpful for the actors because they just felt like they were really living in a real lived place. The goal was always to tell that final chapter, to tell a conclusion. And I think that I hope that people come away from this movie really seeing it as this coming full circle and just being a conclusion. It was the last time they played those characters opposite each other, and I think that was when they finished it. It was a little bittersweet for everyone, and that's something that really it was great to see, and it was really I was privileged to be a part of it.
It feels very bittersweet for a lot of us. This has been our baby for the longest time. It's been over a decade, and so to say goodbye to it now, it's kind of sad, I'll be honest. And I think we all feel that way. It's been been such an incredible journey for all of us. These movies are really fun to make, and I could not have been more lucky to have started this franchise with people that I just love, that I love working with. Everyone that worked on these films are just like the sweetest, nicest people, all the way from New Line, right? Starting with New Line, and with them bringing me in, and me pitting with, starting this out with Peter Safran, and then bringing in Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga to go with us on this journey has been incredible. And needless to say, I'm very wistful these days to have to say goodbye to it. We feel like it was appropriate to sort of finish this chapter of the Conjuring universe with with the family dynamic, and of course, their daughter Judy, along with Tony Spera, who Judy is married to, is a big part of the Warrens, the Warrens dynasty, if you will. And it felt right that we bring them into the fold to sort of wrap up the story. And that's the thing about the Conjuring movies that I think people love, is they come for the horror aspect of it. They come for the scares, but they keep coming back. They stick around for the Warrens. They stick around for the family dynamic, and that's the thing that I think, not to pat ourselves on the back that we did right, was really capture that family dynamic in such a way that people just love them, and it just felt like the right thing to wrap up this phase with the family. Patrick and Vera are incredible actors. Wow, we know this. I knew this even before making this. I mean, I was fortunate enough to have worked with Patrick in the Insidious with the Insidious films, and I've been a big fan of Vera Farmiga for the longest time. And jumping into this, I was like, I'll be super lucky if I can get Patrick to come back to work with me to play Ed, and if I can kind of reach out and pull Vera Farmiga into my world here for this. And luckily, both of them said yes. Patrick and Vera actually knew each other from a previous project, and so that was an easy one to get them to come together. And when they came together, it was so obvious what incredible chemistry that they had. They were friends, and so to actually see their friendship blossom through these Conjuring films, has been incredible. It has been such an amazing thing, and again, it speaks to the family dynamic, not just on screen, but the family dynamic of the filmmaking process with everyone behind the camera as well. They're so incredible in the film. They bring a sense of just genuine authenticity to these two characters, which again, we needed to find two actors that can basically rise to Patrick and Vera Farmiga's level, and these guys did an incredible job to be at that same level, to be able to hold their own against Patrick and Vera, and that's not an easy task. But that was so real, and again, these movies only work, the scares only work, and the emotion only work if you believe in them. And we're very lucky again to have been, very fortunate in finding the right people to take on these roles. It's very interesting. Because I did produce Michael's first movie, I have literally seen him grown with each film, and I don't know. I feel like I feel like an older brother, if you will. That I feel like my younger brother is now growing up, and he's now ready to go into the world, and I feel pride. I feel very proud to have kind of like partially helped him a little bit in guiding him on this journey. And Michael has been incredible. He's a learner, and he's very willing to kind of come into our world and play in our sandbox, but then bring his own vision to it. That's the tricky part. When you go into sort of a very established world, it's kind of hard to bring your own voice to it, but Michael did. He found his own way within this world, and not only did he rise to the occasion, he elevated these last two films, I truly believe, and especially this last one, that needed to be hitting at at the top level, because the movie warranted that. To say goodbye to everyone, this final movie needs to be firing at all, at all cylinders. And it's been amazing watching Michael grow as a filmmaker. Peter and I, we just get along, like we love the same kind of things. We appreciate, what life and our career have given us, and so I think that really helps. And I think we're both very easy, down to earth people, and I love that. And again, I want to work with people that are good. I mean, life is short. The filmmaking business is extremely difficult. I just want to work with people that I like. I just want to work with good people, and Peter is definitely one of those guys. And we just get along, and he's always been a big supporter of my visions with all the films that we've made. It's a movie, it's a series that are based on real life characters that have gone through real world traumas. And I try to parlay the fears that I have from the real world into the movies that I make. That's what I do. And people say to me, like, you make a lot of horror movies, you must not be scared of anything. And I'm like, actually, it's quite the opposite. I'm scared of everything, which is why I think I can make these movies, because I know what scares me. And if what scares me, then there's a very good chance that the thing that I'm afraid of, that I can kind of like lean into, would be terrifying for other people as well. I truly believe. I mean, like the movie is scary. It's frightening, and the leaning into the Smurl case, is a great one for us because it's definitely one of the Warrens' more famous cases. But I do believe that the thing that most people will be talking about is saying goodbye to Patrick and Vera, or to the cinematic version of Anna Lorraine, and it's a very emotional movie, and I think the emotion of this film will really get to people, and we wanted to say goodbye in an emotional way, but one that is also very uplifting as well. So it's not a downer of an ending. So even though it's emotional and we're all going to be sad about it, but it's actually kind of pretty and beautiful at the same time. And I think, I think that is, if we achieve that, then I think that's the biggest thing that we got right with this film.